my name is Laura. If you are new here, welcome. If you are not, welcome back. Thanks for clicking on this video. So we are in a new location. Usually I film up at my desk. Today I am in my basement at my potting station. So I'm gonna give you a look at my potting station in another video because right now everything is a hot mess because I've been potting up a bunch of plants, but I have a bunch more plants to pot up, and so I thought I would just bring you along while I pot them up. I don't know if this is interesting at all. I guess we can just chat while I pot plants. But to start, I'll show you what I'm potting up. I have my variegated burl marks that I did import a little while ago. This is the sad leaf that got all ripped up, and then these are the pretty leaves. But it has started putting out new growth, and you can tell I took a cutting from it. It's starting to put out all green growth, so it's starting to revert, and there's a new leaf coming in here that's all green. So what I want to do is go in there, pull it out, and just cut all the parts that look all the nodes that look like they're gonna put out just green growth so that I can try to promote more variegated growth. So that's the plan for this one. Also, yes, I'm in my pajamas. I'm comfortable. It is 11 o'clock at night and I want to be comfortable in my jammies. This is very impromptu because I saw one plant that needed to be repotted. I don't know if you guys are like this at all, but when I see a plant that needs care, repotted or watered or whatever, I'm like, I gotta do it right now. I have to do it right now or that plant is going to die. And I know deep down inside the plant is not going to die, but I convinced myself that that plant is going to die. And so I was like, okay, I'm already repotting this one plant. Might as well go through the house and look at all the plants that need to be repotted. So that's what I'm doing here. Then I have my philodendron tripartitum, I think. This is what it looks like. And I'd been waiting for this leaf to kind of unfurl before I repotted it. Jury's out on whether we should repot plants while they're unfurling a new leaf or not. Jury's still out on that. I've never had any issues, but I know people who are super against it. So it is in moss. I did get it as a cutting, but I'll show you it's very rooted. I don't know how much you can tell because this is very light colored moss, but it is very rooted. You can see a big root here. So it's ready for some soil. Then I have my Hoya shooting star. This is the plant that started this all. I knocked it out of the pot. Whoopsie. So it needs to get repotted. And so now I knocked it out of the pot and I realized that some of the roots aren't super healthy, and so it needs a smaller pot. It was in way too big of a pot. And yeah, this is what started it all. Then I have my Mama Campo Sportoanum, and I'm going to be adding the cuttings that I unboxed from Botanica's just a couple videos ago. So they all came super rooted. I had them in water just while they kind of adjusted. This one dropped the mama leaf, but it has put out a new leaf. They've all put out new leaves. And this one's even getting ready to put out a second new leaf. So they're good, they're ready. These original leaves, obviously, with a lot of cuttings, don't make it. This one seems like it's gonna make it, but this one is probably not, but I'm just gonna keep it on there until the plant drops it. But long spiel short, I'm just going to pot those in with my Mama Campo to make it a bushier plant. Then I have my Hoya croniana. I'm not loving it in this pot because it's such a tiny plant in this massive pot, and it's doing fine in there, but I really just want to switch it into a smaller terracotta pot, and then I want to put it in my greenhouse cabinet, so that's why I want to repot this one. And then I know I mentioned this in another video and it has since put out another leaf, but it's really crammed in here. My silver stripe philodendron needs to be potted up into real medium because the roots are going a little bananas in here. The moss is completely started growing. This is moss that just started growing. The moss revived itself. Look at that. It's nuts. So it just needs to be potted up. It is so small in here. The leaves are starting to come out all bent, and so that needs to get repotted for sure. And lastly, I have my Hoya linearis hanging basket. So I super overwatered this yesterday because I forgot it's not summer anymore. So in the summer, I keep some plants on my porch. This one's on my porch, and it still is, but I watered it too much, assuming that some of the water would evaporate or dry up in the heat, but it was cold today. So it's just sitting in a puddle of water, and I want to just repot it in some drier soil before we have any root rot issues. So this just happened yesterday, and so it's not a super emergency, but I definitely want to kind of nip it in the bud before we have any root rot issues, because I love this linearis. So those are all the plants I'm going to be repotting. It's a lot of plants. Bear with me, stick with me. We can do this. I think actually we'll start with the linearis. So I have, hold on, let me put this. My filming setup here is not great. I don't have a lot of space because I had this all set up for potting before I decided to film, and so I don't have a lot of space for my camera. Maybe I'll scooch her back. There we go. So I have my soil here. I premix like a tub of soil like once every few months, and then I just have it ready to go for when I'm gonna pot up. I use a bunch of different things. I can make an updated soil mixture video. I do have one, but it's a little bit outdated. If you do watch it, the only things that I guess have changed is I do add charcoal, and I do like horticultural charcoal. I do add a lot of bark to it as well, so like orchid bark mix. But yeah, I guess not much more than that has changed. So I'm going to put on my handy dandy gloves, because I know some people say that they really like to feel like soil when they pot. I hate the feeling of soil on my hands when I'm potting up plants. To me, it's one of the worst feelings. So I like to just wear my little gloves. So we'll start with this Hoya. I'm going to take off the little danglies, the little hangers, so that it's easier to, yeah, and while I was checking how wet the soil was, I actually pulled out one of the little plants. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, especially any about my greenhouse cabinet, I did have a bunch of linearis cuttings in there. So a lot of this plant is those linearis cuttings. So I did get this linearis hanging basket from a local nursery, but it was pretty sparse, and so I did have some cuttings already from another plant that I had. So I ended up combining the linearis plant that I already had, which you've probably seen, the cuttings that I took from that plant, and the, oh no, we're good, and the plant that I got. So, sorry, I'm in a wheelie chair and I'm like kind of wheeling away. So don't come for me. This whole video is going to be me just like basically telling you don't come for me. But I am going to reuse this soil because I know that it's good soil, because I literally repotted it maybe less than a week ago. The issue here is that it's too wet, and so I honestly probably will reuse all the soil that I have, because I'm not in the mood to be switching out, to have like a separate container for the soil that I don't want right now. And like I know that some people are like super not into that. I really don't care if I do that. I've never had issues with it. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not telling you won't have issues if you do that. I'm just saying that I personally don't always throw my soil away or like bake it or whatever. Yeah, see how wet that looks? Ugh. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here, yeah, it's very, very wet. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, that came out so quick, just in a chunk. So I'm gonna break that up. I'm gonna use my scooper, and all my soil in here is dry, so I'm gonna just use my scooper. I also had some extra leca, so I'm not really, you probably heard me say this before, but I'm not really a leca person. Like, I don't personally keep plants in leca unless they were given to me already in leca, and then I panic about transitioning them to soil, so I just leave them in leca and water them with liquidirt, and so far so good. But I'm not a leca person, and whenever I do happen to have or like get leca for some reason, I just throw it into my soil mixture to make it more of an airy mixture. But yeah. I don't know how people make these like chatty repotting videos. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to talk about. Okay, I guess I'll just tell you what I'm doing. Making sure all the soil, the wet soil, is out of there. Looks more or less clean. So I'm gonna scoop up some soil in here. My nice dry chunky soil. Oh, too much, too much. And I definitely am getting the outside of this pot all dirty, but I literally don't care. Like, I am a big make a mess person. Clean it up later or clean it up never, you know? Whatever works for you. Clean it up later, clean it up never. Okay, so most of this plant came out in like a chunk, so I'm gonna just add it back in. I'll put it somewhere where you can see what I'm doing. Put it back in kind of in a chunk. Boop. There we go. Trying to avoid the little places where the hanger clicks in so that I don't have to worry too much about the plant getting stuck in there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, my arms are super sore. I've been doing this workout every day and my arms are so sore. It doesn't even target your arms, but holy cannoli, just doing like this movement over and over again, I am in pain. So I'm tapping the sides to get the soil to just kind of like drop into the cracks of the plant without being like super packed in there. I don't know, I've seen other people do it, it works for me, so that's what I do. There we go. And this time I set it up so that it's all kind of hanging off of one side instead of just like all over, because I kind of like that look better. Yeah. And now I think I'm gonna add these. I had two little one, like the little cuttings that don't have super huge roots. So I'm gonna add those in here now. And perfect. Well, not perfect. Maybe perfect. Definitely not perfect. There we go. Now I'm going to just top it off a little bit more. I feel weird just like narrating what I'm doing. I don't know. Guess I can update you a little bit about what I'm up to in life. So if you know me in real life, you probably already know all of this, but if you don't, then you can learn something about me, I guess. So I recently graduated with my master's degree, which I completely did. I don't know what words to use without YouTube getting mad. I completely did during the panoramic. And I have a job that I'm starting in in a week and a half. I've been used to saying like, oh yeah, I'm starting in a few weeks. It is no longer a few weeks. It is in a week and a half. And I'm very excited, but also very anxious because I do get kind of anxious in like new places and I love meeting new people. Like it's very exciting for me to meet new people at first and then it becomes very exhausting. I don't know if anyone can kind of relate. Like when I'm meeting new people at first, like the first couple days is like very exciting, like, oh, new people, like someone new to talk to, like small talk, blah, blah, blah. But once it gets past that like first couple days or maybe even like first week or so, it's just exhausting to try to keep up with so many new people. And then I just want to be like at home by myself. And so I'm a little nervous about that. And my role, I don't want to give too much of my personal information away, but it is in a field that is very like client facing or an outward facing, my role is. So I do have to work with a lot of different people, which excites me, but also makes me very anxious. Because like I said, I am a people person, but also after a long time of like being around new people, I would get very tired. And so I'm just kind of preparing myself mentally for that, but I'm very excited to be starting this role. This is kind of a I don't want to say like dream job because I don't really know what I'm doing quite yet in my field, like just graduated, you know, but it is very much what I was looking for. So I'm very excited about that. Things just seem to be working out. If you, again, know me personally, you know that this past year has been really tough for me. And maybe I can talk about that in a different video. I don't want to get like all emotional in this one, but I've had kind of a tough last like maybe 12 months. just emotionally and just like in my personal life. And so just like having a win, you know, feels really good. Just like having something where I feel like I accomplished this, I did this, like I am proud of myself for what I've done is just like a win. And I'm very proud of myself for getting myself to where I am, because I didn't, especially about like 10 months ago, I didn't think I was gonna make it to graduation, not like in a super dramatic way, but like it was just a really tough year being, you know, stuck inside, doing my entire program online that wasn't supposed to be online, but because of, you know, everything that we've been facing, having to be stuck in the house and kind of away from family and friends, even though, I mean, we still saw some of our family and some of our friends, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it just like really hit me hard. A lot of things did. And so being able to be at this place where I'm just like successful right now in what I didn't think I was going to be successful in is very encouraging. So I'm just hoping that things stay that way, because I like to worry myself about things that have not happened, as many of us do. I know that that's not an isolated experience. So I'm really hoping that things continue to go well, and I guess I'll keep you updated on my life if y'all care. I'm just clicking these little guys back in place, and I'm seeing that there's some places where roots are still kind of poking out, so I did not do the best job at making sure that these were all facing out. When I click these back in place, I put them all in the wrong like third. So I'm gonna just swing the little linearis over here. Perfect. I love linearis. You know, I go from being like, I was really depressed last year to look at my plant. Like, why I feel so like goofy to, I don't know, do like a chatty video while I'm potting up. I guess it makes things easier to talk about, but then it's just like, again, like I had a really tough time. Look at this plant that I'm potting up. Like, it just, there's a disconnect for me there. I don't know. But I really love linearis, to completely change the subject to plant-related things again. I really love linearis, but I don't get why they do this, where they just like put out a whole like vine and then don't put out leaves at every node. Like, why do they do this? Because then they just look kind of weird. Like, I wish, is it just my linearis? I feel like I've seen a lot of linearis like that. Like, these look great because they have little leaves at every node, but what happened here? What happened here? You know? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna stop messing with this plant. I think this one's done. And I'm going to pop my little tag back in there. And some people have asked me where I got these tags. They're just from Amazon. They're bamboo tags. I wrote the name on them. They come blank. So that's where I got them, if you're interested. I just looked up like bamboo plant tag on the internet. So that's that. That looks great. I love that. I love this a lot better than what it looked like before. And there's still some poking out the back. So it'll still kind of like fill up in the back a little bit, but I like that most of it is kind of in the front. And now it's not sitting in just like soggy soil. So that's good. Okay, I have these 3 tiny terracotta pots. Ow, I hit my knee. I have these 3 tiny terracotta pots that I got at Goodwill. So I'm going to, and I got them for like $1.99. So that was a really awesome deal because they're so cute. And they're like oh, but all the tape is sticking to them. Ugh, Goodwill, why do you put all this tape on there? And all the tape is sticking to my gloves now. Should have taken my gloves off to do this, but I'm too stubborn to do it now. A lot of the glue from I guess it's not a ton, it's not too bad. Some of the glue is kind of sticking to it, but c'est la vie. Maybe I'll use some Goo Gone later and get it off. Okay. So I have these 3 tiny terracotta pots, and they don't have drainage holes. Sorry, there's some old dirt in there, and I know this is probably super triggering, but I'm just dumping it into my dirt. I don't even know. It's Goodwill dirt, but it's my dirt now, you know? My dirt now. But I have these 3 super cute tiny terracotta pots. I think I'm going to put my Hoya shooting star in one of them. So I'm just going to plop that little guy in there so that I know that pot is taken by that plant. I think my Croniana will go in the other one. And then maybe my little silver stripe. I almost think that that's too small. Maybe I don't have a good plant for that 3rd pot, so I think we'll do those 2 for now, and then we'll see. Okay, so start with the shooting star. So again, just scooping some. No, I was so stupid. I scooped with the side that had the sticky still on there, and now the whole terracotta pot is dirty. Oh well. We'll have that side facing the back. I am so lazy. Someone help me. Yeah, these don't have drainage holes, I was gonna say, but it's terracotta, so like it doesn't need drainage holes in my opinion, allegedly. Blah blah blah. It does not need drainage holes, I think. But you are entitled to your own opinion, and if you like drainage holes or you need drainage holes in your terracotta, sweet, good for you. Like, that's fine. But don't get mad at me for not having drainage holes in my terracotta. It's terracotta. But before everybody stops watching this video because they're offended, let's talk about something else. Okay, so I don't know if you know this about me. This is another thing that if you know me in real life, not in fake internet life, you know that I am an avid Taylor Swift fan, and I am so excited for Red, Taylor's version, to come out in November. Like, girly. I am so excited to listen to that album on repeat. I'm sure my fiance is going to move out once that happens because he'll listen to Taylor Swift with me, but there's a line and I tend to cross it, you know? I tend to cross the line of how much Taylor Swift one should listen to in a 24-hour period. Like, I literally get in the car and I tell Spotify, like, hey, Spotify, shuffle Taylor Swift. And that is what I listen to in the car. It's a little, like, disgusting that is all I listen to, but she just, like, gets it, you know? Like, I've been listening to Taylor Swift. This has turned into a Taylor Swift fan video. But I have been listening to Taylor Swift since her self-titled album era. I was in middle school. Or no, I was in 5th grade when that album came out. And I remember distinctly when I discovered Taylor Swift. I don't even know how old you are in 5th grade, like 8, 9, I don't know. Little 9-year-old me, will say, was just strutting through the hallways of my elementary school when I heard in the distance our song playing in the gym. And I had to know, whose angelic voice is singing that song? I am about to ruin my entire life for this artist. And the rest was history, you know? The rest was history. We had a slight falling out when I was in college because I thought I was too cool to listen to Taylor Swift. But then Reputation came out, and then I was like, okay, never mind. I was wrong. Repeat, put it on repeat. It was so bad. My roommates were just like, girly pop, you gotta stop. Like, do you need help? Do you need to see someone? Should we call your parents? Like, I was like, no, big Reputation. Ooh, you and me. It would be a big conversation. And yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to in life, apparently, is the new Taylor Swift album. What is your favorite Taylor Swift album, if you have one? If you haven't literally stopped watching and not only unsubscribed, but also disliked and blocked me. What is your favorite Taylor Swift song? Or album, I guess. That's what my original question was. If I had to pick an album, I think it's between Evermore. I know, that's really cliche because it's like her new album, but Evermore and Red, which is why I'm so excited for the Red to the red to come out. For red Taylor's version to come out. So I have moved on to my Croniana without even telling you what I'm doing because I got so wrapped up in my love for Taylor Swift that I just went on autopilot. I saw the funniest TikTok the other day. Oh, by the way, I've been thinking about doing a little like video or series or something here where I react to different plant TikToks. Let me know if that sounds interesting to you. If it doesn't, we can pretend that this conversation never happened. But anyway, I saw this really funny TikTok the other day where it was like, what's something that like not in your field that you could talk about for 10 minutes, like straight unprovoked. And it was just this girl going, so Taylor is the owner of her songs, and so she's re-recording all of her songs because she owns the idea of the song. It was just so funny. It was like explaining why she's coming out with all her versions of the song now that like she got screwed over with her original versions of her songs, and so it was just really funny. It made me think of me. I showed it to my fiance. He didn't think it was that funny because that's what he has to live with. But baby, he put a ring on it, so he knew. He knew what he was getting himself into. What weird... I guess being into Taylor Swift isn't weird. I'm not going to call it weird, but like what is something that you're like super into or super passionate about? Let me know. Help me feel better about myself and my Taylor Swift obsession. I was like doing work at my desk today. I don't even remember what I was doing. Because like I'm not in school and I'm not working, so I sat at my desk on my computer for like 45 minutes today. I cannot tell you what I was doing. I have no idea. But I was at my desk today doing something for 45 minutes. I think I was like answering emails or something. I don't know. But I was just listening to All Too Well on repeat, and I was like, I am disgusting. I need help. But we all knew that, huh? Okay, again, patting the little plant so that all the soil falls into the roots. So here is my Croniana. I like this so much better than that big pot. All right, who should be next? Should we do the tripartitum? Philodendron tripartitum? Let me find a pot for it. So I'm at I don't even know how to explain this. I'm so tired. I just got like a wave of tired all of a sudden and realized I've been filming for like 30 minutes and most of it I've been talking about why I like Taylor Swift. Someone help me. These are my favorite pots in the world. They're from Walmart. They're like $1 or $2 each. They're amazing. They come with their own like drainage, whatever, catcher, drainage tray. I don't know. And they're amazing and they're white and they're ceramic and they're beautiful. So I'm going to use that. And now don't go buy them all at Walmart if you live in my area, because if you go buy them all at Walmart, I will be very sad because every time I go, I just like buy them in bulk. So I'm going to, this plant is in moss. I'm all over the place. I'm filming a video in the middle of the night. I don't know what I was expecting of myself. But there we go. Got my plant out. Now I am going to find a little container to just like shake all the moss off into. And yes, I reuse that moss. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I do. Don't come for me if I'm not supposed to reuse moss. I hate throwing things away. Like, things cost money and things are like things. I don't know. I just feel weird throwing things away. Like, it still works. So I do reuse all of my moss. I let it like completely dry out. Is that wrong? Let me know down below. Bully me down below if that's wrong. But I will not change my ways. So these, whenever I have like a plant like this that's like all stuck in moss, I try to be very gentle about how I remove the roots. And I think I'm going to take my gloves off so I can actually feel the roots. I don't mind getting moss on my hands, but soil, God forbid. I don't know. It just like sends me into a, you know? I'm like a little bit, like have weird, let's get really personal, okay? I have like weird things with like if things are like a certain texture or like they feel a certain way, and not foods, but like actual tactile texture, I just like can't with them. Like I feel like I'm gonna throw up. And something about like having soil like between my fingernails, oh my god, that feeling is just, it's horrendous. But moss, on the other hand, I can feel moss in between my little fingies, and no issues there. So I am a little worried that if I remove any more of this moss, I'm gonna lose the roots on this plant because they're really in here. So I'm gonna do a little shake against this little container here to see if some of it just like naturally comes off. This probably is just like not it, not the thing to do. But hey, it works sometimes. It takes some of it off. I don't love potting up plants with a ton of moss like this. I don't know if it's like bad or not, but it just makes me feel like it's going to retain a lot of moisture when I water it, and I don't love that. Oh, we had a little leaf growing in that did not make it. Let's pull that out. It's just kind of like a rotted leaf, which happens. Super duper happens sometimes. But we don't want to keep that around because it might spread the rot somewhere else in the plant, which we super don't want. It probably would have helped if I would have wet this moss to try to pull it. Ugh. And my arm is so sore. So I was telling you, I've been doing this workout. It's like a HIIT, like high intensity interval workout. Holy cannoli, it is exhausting. It's like a 10-minute like leg and cardio. Oh shoot, I broke one part of the roots. Now I'm getting like nervous because the roots are starting to break. I'll be gentle. So it's this so it's cardio and like a leg workout followed by a circuit of abs and cardio. And man, oh man, it is just something else. I think the whole workout is less than 20 minutes, but something about it just like targets every muscle in your body that you didn't even like know you had. I get sore immediately after, and then I am sore all night. Like it hurts to like sit up in bed and to lay down in bed. I have to like throw myself into my bed. And the past couple nights, apparently I'm going to be talking about my fiance a lot in this, so. But the past couple of like days, I've had my fiance do it with me. And today I was like, honey, do you want to do my workout with me? He was like, no, I'm sore. He still did it though, so he's a trooper. But it was very funny because he's a runner, and so I'm not. I try to run, but I'm not a runner. And so it's very funny because like he kicks my butt when it comes to running, and I kick his butt when it comes to doing like HIIT workouts and such, like abs and weight stuff. Like I kick his butt, so it feels good. So I don't think I'm going to get any more of this moss out. I'm just going to call it a day. And my little plant is just going to have some moss in there, which should be fine, right? Right? It should be fine. Clearly, I'm a very meticulous plant parent, as you can see. I am not. I do things like however, you know? However, it doesn't really matter to me. There's no rules in plant keeping or plant parenting, if you will. There are no rules. You do things the way that works for you. And if other people wouldn't do it your way, great, they don't have to. They can do things their way. I feel like this is a really sassy video. Like I didn't mean to like be sassy today, but I guess I just like feeling spicy. Okay, that's as far as I'm doing this because I'm tired and I want to move on. So I took quite a bit of moss off. I will be reusing that. So, okay, where are my glovies? I need my little glovies so that I don't get soil on my fingers and just like hurl. It's not that dramatic, but I'm being dramatic. I really don't like the feeling of soil on my fingers. I get it. I'm the weird one. I get it. Okay. I'm going to fill this with a little bit of soil at the bottom. Boop. too much, way too much. Got a little overexcited there. The only thing with these pots that I've had issues with that I'm not super loving is that since they are ceramic, and I guess I'm just used to potting in terracotta, but since they are ceramic, they do retain moisture a lot more, so I've just been having to be extra careful with making sure I'm not overwatering, because I, again, am used to terracotta, and so I am used to watering like it's terracotta, and it's not terracotta. It is really not terracotta, and if you water like it's terracotta, your plants are going to die. So now I'm just gonna top this off. So yeah, is there a type of pot that you prefer? I do prefer terracotta, but I love the look of these white pots. Like, I just love that with terracotta, because I do tend to be an overwaterer. I tend to be an all over the place waterer, but generally I tend to be an overwaterer. And so that's why I like terracotta, because if I overwater, and even if I see like, oh, I think I overwatered my plant this month, or like, even if I see like, oh, I think I overwatered my plant this time, like I can just let it dry out, and I don't have to like repot like I did with that linearis, because it doesn't super matter, you know? Okay. This one's set. Oh, this one's not set. Come on. It's a little wiggly in there. I think I potted it a little low. So I'm not going to be able to fill the soil to the top, which is fine. Just add a little bit more for stability. And once the plant starts getting like bigger roots and filling out the pot, then it'll stabilize itself, but it's not too wobbly. But yeah, that's my, I think I've called this plant a million different things, or maybe I haven't, but my philodendron tripartitum is, I'm pretty sure what it is, or what it's called. I guess those are the same thing. I'm gonna add a little bit more soil here. And do the little tap, 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 tap. Okay, that plant's done. Let's move on. Shall we do this one? Let's see what I have in my handy dandy plant drawer. Kind of running out of little pots. I have this gray or like brown terracotta. Let's see. I have this, but this is like teeny tiny terracotta. A lot of big pots, but I'm kind of out of small pots. Maybe we'll put it in here. We'll check the roots and see, and then I think we'll put it in there regardless. I have my hair stuck in my mouth, but I don't want to put my glove in my mouth, so I'm just like stroking my cheek trying to get it. Okay, got it. Let's check out these roots. There's some leftover soil in here that I'm just gonna pop right back in here. Oh, that was a horrible sound. Sorry about that if you could hear that. The sound of like my little shovel grinding against the terracotta, just like nails on a chalkboard. Okay, let's take a look at this plant and the root system. So I am gonna kind of shake this moss into my potting mix. I don't really care. Because I do sometimes add moss to my potting mix, or like a little bit of moss. So it's okay if there's a tiny bit in there. Okay. So this is what the root system's looking like. I feel kind of nervous about putting that tiny plant in there. Maybe I will use this tiny terracotta for this. Yeah, I think I will. And it did come out, this poor plant. I've just neglected it, even though it's easily one of my favorites, but came out with another leaf. It's still hardening off, so it looks like very light green. But do you see how tall and skinny the leaves are coming in because they were just stuck in this thing? I feel bad. I'm so sorry, little plant. I'm so sorry. But let's pot that guy up. So same thing I did with all the other ones, just putting a little soil at the bottom, enough for the roots to kind of sit where they should. What else should we chat about? Oh, it needs more soil. Okay, so one thing I've noticed, I'm just getting into chatty land here. One thing I've noticed is that this year I'm super excited for fall. Whereas in previous years, I haven't really been a fall person. Like, I really enjoy my hot weather, like getting to be outside, and like, I'm in Minnesota, so our hot weather, even though it's intense, is not long-lived. And so I really enjoy it when I can. But this year, I don't know what it was about this summer. I know we had record high temperatures just like all summer. But I am done with summer. And I hate to say it because I know I'm going to complain in the winter. And I've tried to stop complaining in the winter. I'm actually liking the winter a little bit more. But I don't know what it is about this year that has just made me excited for fall. I'm excited for spooky season. Like, I don't know. I haven't been excited for fall in as long as I can remember. Like, maybe when I was little, I remember being like excited for Halloween, and like I was a nerd, so I liked when school started. But I was always excited as a little kid, like elementary school age for school to start. Even middle school age, I was like excited to see my friends and stuff. But I don't know what it is about this year. Maybe it's because I don't have school anymore. It's like the first year, and I am 24 since I've been in preschool that I'm not starting school in the fall. So maybe that's what's like allowing me to be excited for fall. Oh, so cute. That looks amazing. I'm really glad we did that. But yeah, I'm very excited for fall. And so I'm wondering if other people feel that way, if there's like something about this year that is just like making us excited for fall, especially those of us who are in northern areas, such as myself. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. So next I'm going to do the Campo Sportoanum. This is a lot of repotting. I am tired of repotting. But I know that if I don't do all of this now, like I said, I am starting. And I'm saying I'm starting this new job like it's going to take up all my time, but I'm probably going to have more time on my hands than I did while I was in school. But I am starting this new job, so I know I'm probably going to be tired after work and want to like relax and not worry about my plants probably. I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't really predict that, but in case that is the case, I want to make sure that my plants are all like in good shape. So I've been going around and, oh, the roots on this look great. So I repotted this. Sorry, I'm going to just jump all over the place with commentary here. But I repotted this recently from moss, and it has new root growth, so it looks awesome. But anyway, I want to make sure that all my plants are just like well taken care of, so that if the first couple weeks of like starting my new job, I just kind of want to relax. I'm also planning my wedding right now, which if you've ever planned a wedding, you know, it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work and a lot of going and touring places and trying food and trying on dresses and looking at colors and looking at flowers and emailing people and meeting with people. And so definitely that and my job are going to be my priority, not my plants, unfortunately. So I want to make sure that they're as well taken care of as possible. So I've been cleaning off like all the leaves. I'm getting ready to bring some plants inside from my porch, which it's a 3-season porch and it's closed, so I don't have to do a lot of like that pest control that if, for example, your plants were outdoors you'd have to do, but I still have to like get them acclimated to being indoors. Like my porch, if you've seen any of my videos where I show my plants that are on my porch, it does get very humid and very hot. So they're very accustomed, my plants, to that environment, which is not the environment inside of my house. My house is not humid at all. It's actually going to be pretty dry here in the winter with I just dropped dirt everywhere. Ah! All over my pajama pants. No. But it's going to be very dry here in the winter with the heat on because Again, it's cold. I know, I get it. It's cold. But I want to make sure that they start kind of slowly acclimating, because I don't know. This is my first year having plants outside, and I just feel like I shouldn't go from hot and humid to just like in the house, heater. Like, I don't want it to be so abrupt. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but that's how I'm going to try to do it this year. And if things don't go well, then I'll try something new next year. But yeah, I'm slowly trying to move them in now that the temperatures are like sitting around like 60 degrees, to start kind of acclimating them to inside temperatures and conditions while it's still kind of like nice out. Because I just want what's best for my plants. I want them to be successful in their transition indoors. And even my plants that are inside, I've picked up some grow lights and put them around my house. I got some like normal lamps. I can do a whole video about this if anyone's interested on like how I'm transitioning my plants for winter here. But I've picked up some grow lights, and I have moved some plants around to give others that maybe like those who are outside, maybe some prime real estate where I know that they're going to be more successful if they have those areas in my house with better lighting or farther away from a vent, etc. Because again, they're used to these very amazing conditions outdoors that they are not going to get at all once they're indoors. So I'm focusing a lot right now on just taking care of my plants so that that transition can be easy for them, and so that my transition from being at home for the past year, like even though I was, going to school full time for my master's, I still was home all the time. And so if like a plant was thirsty or a plant needed something, or I needed a break from studying or doing work or whatever, or in between classes, I could go just like water my plant. But now I'm going to be working like a 9 to 5 in an office, and I cannot do that. So long story short, I don't even know exactly where this conversation started, but long story short, I am working on getting my plants acclimated into my home and just prepping them for when I start working and don't have a lot of time or don't really want to spend all of my time doing plant care. Also, let's have a chat quick about plant burnout. I know a couple of people have kind of touched on this no, I almost pulled that plant up. No, I did pull it up. Roots and all. Come on. Okay. I know a couple of people have kind of touched on this on the internet, on like in videos in the plant community. But if you'd like my opinion on it, let me know. But I can kind of talk about it a little bit here about plant burnout. So like with anything, I've definitely experienced plant burnout, and I know it sounds really stupid to someone who like maybe hasn't experienced it or like doesn't really know what it is. So here's that. This is done. We're going to move on to my last plant, my variegated burl. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull them out and then just start cutting at the nodes where I see that the variegation is or isn't, and just separating it by nodes, if that makes sense. Okay, I had to go get scissors because I realized I didn't have any. But yeah, let's chat about plant burnout for a second. So it's very real, and again, it might sound kind of dumb if you have never experienced it or if you've never heard of it before, but plant burnout, I have experienced it, and it's I feel like very different from most hobbies, because the plant hobby requires you to be very active in it. You can't really take a break from it. If your life gets hectic or something is overwhelming in your life, or something happens in your personal life where like you need to focus on other things besides your hobbies, plants don't really work that way, because if you stop worrying about your plants or caring for your plants, they're going to die. Like your plants outdoors don't need you, but your plants in your home that you brought outside of their natural like conditions to live in your home, these plants need you to survive. And that's just the truth, And so unlike most hobbies, if you need to take a break, your plants are going to die, and that's very stressful for a lot of people. because we love our plants, A, and B, most of us, or a lot of us, have invested a lot of time, energy, and money even into our plants. And so even if you don't have like super rare, exotic, blah, blah, blah plants, you've invested a lot of time and your energy into your plants. And the last thing you want to do is let your plants die, you know? And so sometimes it's very overwhelming to have all of this responsibility that you like kind of put on yourself, but you love it, but also you need a break because something else is going on in your life, or your mental health is not where it should be, or whatever it might be. You're in a transitional phase in your life. You just moved, or what, it doesn't even matter. You don't even need a reason. You might just look at your plants and say, I can't take care of you right now. And it can be very frustrating to feel that way, at least for me, because again, I've spent a lot of time, energy, and even money on my plants, and I don't want them to die. So plant burnout is definitely a thing because it can very quickly go from a really fun hobby that is relaxing and kind of grounds us, which I think is a lot of the reasons why people like plants. It's very nice to just kind of like be in touch with nature, and very grounding to just be with plants all day. But when that hobby turns into a chore, it can be very, very exhausting because plant care is not necessarily easy. As much as some people will try to simplify their plant care by like having plants in leca or having like a specific schedule they follow to do plant care. Like, plant care is not necessarily easy, and if you mess up, there's pretty big consequences. You can lose your plants, whereas like if your hobby is like golf or something, like you can take a break from golf and your golf clubs aren't going to like grow legs and walk away. Or if your hobby is, I don't know, photography, you can take a break from photography. Your camera is not going to implode if you don't touch it for a few months. So plant burnout can be very frustrating because sometimes we just need a break. And when I've experienced plant burnout, what I do is I make sure I'm just doing the bare minimum for my plants. Like, I ensure that what I'm doing is the bare minimum. And that might sound kind of crazy, but it's how I keep myself from just becoming exhausted, I don't want to exhaust myself. I don't want to overwhelm myself. And so when I need to do the bare minimum, I make sure I'm doing the bare minimum, like the absolute bare minimum. And if a plant kind of maybe needs care, but it's not like gonna die right now if I ignore it, like if it needs to be repotted or if it maybe needs to be repotted like soon, or if it needs to, I don't know, get watered soon, or if it has fungus gnats, which are, oh no, this leaf fell off. I'm literally gonna, oh well. Or if it has like fungus gnats, which are not like a detrimental pest necessarily in the way that like other pests are, like scale or thrips or something that can actually like ruin your plant, I just ignore it. I'll come back to it later when I'm feeling better. I'll keep a mental note, like this is the plant that needs care, and I'll come back to it later because it is not worth becoming overwhelmed over a plant. And I know that sounds silly that like we would even become overwhelmed or stressed out over a plant, but like we love our plants. We have invested a lot in our plants. We don't want to like let our plants die. And so just like ensuring that we're in the right mindset when caring for our plants, that we're not getting too many plants that we can't care for. Because I think that's a big one too, is like when people join the hobby, and this happened to me, this happens to everyone, and I've seen so many videos of people who are giving advice to new plant parents, and they're like, make sure you only get the plants that you can care for like at a time. But it's an exciting hobby. It's like very fun to fill your house with plants quickly, and it's very easy to do, and it can be very inexpensive even. I'm looking for little cups to put my little plant cuttings in. But yeah, it can be easy to just fill your house with plants, and very easy to become kind of addicted. And I use that word very lightly because I know that addiction is a very serious topic. So I know it can be different from, other like serious addictions, but it can become very addicting to just like fill your house with plants. And so slowing down at first is a way to kind of stop that, but it's like not always something you can do. It's not always something you can help. Sometimes you just want some freaking plants in your house. But I don't know where to cut here. I think I'm going to cut here. There we go. And here. Sorry, I can't talk while I do this. I need to focus. Haha, perfect. I don't know if this node will make it. It got cut kind of at a funky angle. But we'll see. This one is not variegated, so I don't super care about this one. This one is the one that I want to super save because I know this one's variegated. But yeah, long story short, plant exhaustion is real. Getting overwhelmed by your plants is super real. Take care of yourself. If you need to take a break from your plants, take a break from your plants. You're not a bad person. If you need to let some plants die, let some plants die. But, you know, try not to fill your house with so many plants so quickly that you have to get to that point. But if you do, it's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, the world will keep spinning if you let some plants die. Even if they're expensive plants, the world will continue to spin. You will continue to be here, and you can just try again later, you know? The last thing we want to do is to have a hobby become a chore and burn us out, because that literally sucks. There we go. Haha. Okay. So I'm going to show you what I have here. This node, I don't know if you can super see that, it has some variegation on it, and this is my nice pretty variegated leaf, so I'm hoping this will start spitting out more variegation. It does have some roots. This node has some slight variegation, very light, if you can see that there, and it does have some roots, but it did put out a leaf that is completely unvariegated, and the leaf that's coming in looks unvariegated as well. So this I don't expect to be variegated, but it would be nice if it was. This is the most variegated node. Oh, right there. You can see that. Variegation, and so this has some roots already, and it has a nice kind of mottled variegated leaf. It also had that other leaf that I accidentally ripped off, which I'm like sad about, but this plant has kind of just been a disappointment, but so maybe I'll do another video on plants I regret getting, because this might be one of them. The variegation just went away so quickly, so quickly. And here is another node. I don't know if this node will make it because there's not any roots, like any aerial roots, but it's not variegated at all, the node, and the new growth is not coming in variegated at all either. So if it doesn't make it, I don't care. And see, you just got to become like that a little bit with your plants. And maybe I take it a little to the extreme. Oh, and there's also this node, which is where all the roots are. I don't know if anything will come of it. I guess it has a lot of variegation, so if something comes of it, that would be really exciting. Something nice and variegated. Should I chop this into more nodes? Maybe. Let's see. Am I getting a little scissor happy right now? The answer is yes. Yes, I am. Do I care? The answer is no. No, I'm going to leave that. Because maybe this will be a successful cutting still. So people have to be a little bit more relaxed and remember that this is a hobby. This is supposed to be fun. Like, if your plants are stressing you out, change something about it. Figure out what's stressing you out about it and then change it. I've learned to become very just like nonchalant. Obviously, again, I do not want my plants to die. I do what I can to make sure that they're healthy. And I, not to toot my own horn, would like to say that I think my plants are very healthy and happy for the most part. I do have some sad ones here and there, but with a lot of plants, I mean, I feel like that's impossible not to have some sad ones here and there. But if something goes awry in my plant collection and a plant dies or is not doing well, or like even my expensive plants, like, you live and you learn, you know? That's like, what can you do at that point? You're not going to beat yourself up and get all upset. Like, what are you going to get out of that, you know? What are you going to get out of being, like, regretful about what you did with your plants? Like, you're not going to get anything out of that. You're just going to be upset. You just have to be a little bit more carefree. Obviously not irresponsible with your plants, but just a little bit more carefree. If it dies, it dies. Like, what can you do? You know? What can you do? I had these little tags on here from when I was selling my plants. And some of them I ended up potting up, and so they still have their little price tags on them. Because they got so rooted that I just ended up potting them up in soil. And now I just want to take them off because they're bothering me. I've been here for over an hour filming. I'm going to cut this to be so short compared to the hour that it is. I've been here for over an hour filming. I am so going to edit this down because no one wants to watch me pot up plants for an hour. But I'm almost done. Okay, this is the node that I'm not sure will make it. But hey, it's worth a shot, you know? And that's another thing, like, I know I talked about this, oh my gosh, I'm spilling moss everywhere. I know I talked about this in the video with, like, plants I'm currently killing, or whatever it was called, that plant update that I did. But once a plant starts dying to the point where I can't see a nice outcome for it in the near future, I find it a new home. Be it someone else's home, I just give it away to someone who would like to rehab it, or I rehome it to the trash because it stresses me out to see plants that are dying, and I'm not here to stress myself out. This is a fun hobby. It's a fun hobby. Not here to stress myself out. How many more do I need? 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on just the plant hobby in general. And I also have a lot of thoughts about the plant community. Positive and negative, of course. So if you'd like to hear my opinion about that, I'm not going to get started on that right now because I'm almost done potting up these plants and I would like to go to bed sometime soon. But if you're interested in hearing my opinion about the plant community, I'd be more than happy to share it because I have a lot to say, and some of it may or may not be controversial. I don't know. I don't know how people feel. It's kind of hard to gauge it, I feel like, on how, like, people feel, because heard a lot of positives, but also, like, I know a lot of people have experienced negatives, and I've also experienced both positives and negatives. So again, if you'd like to hear my take on the plant community, both, like, locally, and I'm not gonna, like, trash on anyone because that's just gross, but just, like, locally in general, and then online in general as well, just let me know. I'd love to make that video if anyone's interested in actually watching it, because I don't want to make a video that no one wants to watch. Because that's not fun for anybody. I'm starting to feel, like, slap happy from how tired I am. I don't even know why I'm this tired. It's like, I think it's probably close to midnight at this point. And, like, I did get up at, like, 7:30 this morning, but I don't know. I feel like I can be up this late. I think I'm just old now. I can't be up past, like, 11, or I just, like, start internally combusting. Is this what being in your mid-20s is like? To all my mid-20 people out there, or anyone who is past their mid-20s and has experienced the mid-20s, is this what it's like? Is it just a decline from here where I can't go to bed later than, like, 10 or 11, or I just feel, like, exhausted? Do y'all remember the video I did at the plant event I went to, where I just started it so upbeat? I don't know, like, that video doesn't have, like, a ton of views, which is fine, I'm not offended or anything. But it just started off so upbeat in that video, and the end, I'm like basically falling asleep on my counter. It was so pathetic. Like, why was I so tired? It was like maybe 10:30 at night, and I was just like, no energy, turning off. Just everything is turning off. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm literally 24. What is wrong with me? I don't know. Okay. The plants have all been potted. Woohoo! So I have all my plants. This guy's kind of looking funny in here. Maybe I'll find a nice piece of bark to hold them up. Let's see. Okay. The plants are all potted up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix some liquid dirt. And I don't have any comments, no comments about liquid dirt. I just started using it literally yesterday. It was the first day, literally, was the first day that I used it. And so I don't have any comments about it yet. But once I use it for a while, I can let you know if I like it or not. But I've heard positive things, most of them from people who have affiliate links with liquidirt, so I would like to form my own opinion, and then I can share it with you all, but I'm sure it'll be probably a while until I can form an opinion about liquidirt. I do like to water my plants right after I pot them up. I'm going to try not to overwater them because seasons are changing. Okay, so I have my mix. Liquidirt starts as this powder, and then you add water to it, makes concentrate. So this is liquid now. And then, oh no, I don't want to tip it over. Okay. And then you have a diluted mix of that, and then you dilute that one more time. So I have the instructions. I literally wrote them on this. It is 2 tablespoons per quart. So I have, this of course is in cups. Oh, quarts, here we go. Okay. So 2 tablespoons per quart. I'm going to mix about half of a quart. So I'm going to do 1 tablespoon. And I know that this isn't a liquid mixing or a liquid measuring cup, measuring spoon. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. What is wrong with me? But I'm going to use it anyways. This is heavy and it hurts my arms because they're sore. Okay. Now I'm going to go fill the rest of this here up with water. Okay, my light died, so now we have a new angle so that I can show you all the plants before we go. So we have, I'll show them to you while I'm watering them. We have the philodendron, silver stripe. I'll just give that a little drink. Then I have the Hoya shooting star. Give that a little drink. The Campo Sportoanum with all the new cuttings in there, and it looks a little ugly with all these kind of dying leaves in there, but once those fall and it starts growing in, it'll look great. I know it'll look great. Next we have the Philodendron tripartitum. So that's what that's looking like. Give that a drink. The Hoya croniana. And then the 4 burl marks, some variegated, some not. And these have wet moss in there, so they don't need to get watered. Oh, and I forgot one. I have the Hoya linearis, but I'm not going to water this one because it was already kind of too wet for a day, so I'm just gonna let it dry out for a couple more days before I water it. But I'll keep an eye on it to make sure that it is not getting too dry. But yeah, that's all the plants. We did it. So that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like my ranty, long repotting video, I don't blame you. Give it a thumbs down. Let me know what kind of content to make for you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!